All right, this breaking news is especially egregious. You know, when a lot of people think of a nation in decline, they look at a decline in GDP growth, or a decline in population growth, or being isolated from your allies, or starting a war. But when I think of a nation in decline, I look at how many Fox News hosts are plucked straight off of the network and put into a high-level government position. Because today we learned that Trump appointed Fox News host Jeanine Pirro as a top prosecutor in D.C., essentially just like a wine mom, which is fine, but she shouldn't be a top prosecutor in DC only a year after costing, or 2 years after costing Fox News $787 million because of a defamation settlement with Dominion. Remember, Jesse Waters, Jeanine Pirro, and all of these people on Fox News, including Tucker Carlson, spread this Dominion conspiracy theory, which was a complete undermining of our democracy. And, you know, I was being sort of tongue-in-cheek about the nation in decline relating to Fox News thing, but not really. When you have Trump undermining our legal and judicial system by appointing stooges in key positions, it's kind of terrifying. And just to lay the groundwork really quickly, I don't need to remind you what happened over the past few months where we had Signalgate Part 1, then Signalgate Part 2, because Trump prioritizes, loyalty over competence. You know, my mom always tells me that someone can be charismatic, but that doesn't mean that they're competent. So just because Pete Hegseth may have been good on camera at one time, I don't even think he's good on camera, but just because someone may be good on camera doesn't mean that they are competent or that they can be a leader or handle these high-stress situations. Remember, the Pentagon has 1.2 million people working for it, I believe, works with $1 trillion budget, and Pete Hegseth was a Fox News host running a team of maybe 4 people. But to go on to the main story, just read this. Pirro will serve as an interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. President Trump says he will appoint Fox News host and former prosecutor Jeanine Pirro as an interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. Trump announced his pick in a Truth Social post. The selection comes as Trump told reporters in the Oval Office Thursday that Ed Martin, who is currently serving as DC's interim top prosecutor, would not be taking the position. Check out this clip.
Senator Tillis has come out against Ed Martin as U.S. attorney. Do you have any response to that?
Well, it's disappointing because, you know, I know Eddie's very talented. Crime is down in Washington, D.C. Street crime, violent crime by 25%. And people have seen, they've noticed a big difference. So I didn't know that. But if anybody voted against him, I feel very badly about it, only in the sense that in this short period of time that he's been there, crime is down 25% in Washington, D.C. But that's really up to the senators. If they, feel that way, they have to.
All right, this dude is clearly losing his mind. But the broader point here is that Jeanine Pirro is not even close to a symbol of law and order. She's the antithesis of that. She's a symbol of Trumpian loyalty, and she's going to help Trump consolidate power because she's now going to be overseeing cases involving members of Congress, federal agencies, and how they can allocate their funds. Jeanine Pirro, the Fox News host, is going to be overseeing cases involving January 6 defendants. So this is not about justice. It's about control and installing a loyalist in a key position. Remember, Jeanine Pirro's husband, during Trump's first term, was convicted of 34 counts of conspiracy and tax evasion, and then was pardoned by Trump as one of his final acts in office. She was also suspended from Fox News not long ago for openly attacking a Muslim congresswoman's loyalty to the Constitution. So again, it's a broader part of Trump's play. You can even relate it back to Project 2025 pretty cleanly. A lot of Trump supporters have been realizing that Project 2025 was real because the foundation of it was Schedule F executive order, which means you can hire and fire people not based on their qualifications or merit or experience, but based on how loyal they are to Donald Trump. There are political litmus tests that people have to take when trying to get into a government position now. Like, do you believe the 2020 election was stolen? Do you believe the 2020 election was rigged? And if you give the wrong answer, then you can't get in a top government position. So this loops back to Jeanine Pirro now being the interim U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. Pirro's been a longtime ally of Trump, dating back to her time as a prominent prosecutor in New York. She was an early supporter of his 2016 campaign and publicly defended him during the Access Hollywood tape scandal. Following Trump's loss in the 2020 election, Pirro pushed false allegations of election fraud involving voting machines and was later among the Fox News employees named in the Dominion voting system's defamation lawsuit for broadcasting false claims about the company. Remember, Fox News settled for almost $1 billion. In 2019, she was suspended for attacking Ilhan Omar Martin, who has been vying to become a top prosecutor in one of the nation's most important U.S. attorney's offices, has served as the interim U.S. attorney since the start of the admin, but his interim term expires on May 20th. And now the question is, what happens if after Jeanine Pirro's interim term, she just says, hey, I'm not going to leave? And Trump says, hey, she's not going to leave. We know that if a Supreme Court ruling came out and said, you've got to get this interim appointee out, Trump would violate that Supreme Court ruling, which would be another constitutional crisis. And the broader worry here is we turn into a Viktor Orban-Hungary model, because in Hungary, Viktor Orban kept defying court orders, defying the Supreme Court, and there was no branch to actually enforce these rulings. So then the Supreme Court began to curtail its behavior to fit what they think Orban was going to do so that they didn't lose their power. And then at that point, Viktor Orban has control over all of the courts. Now, we're not quite there yet, but the Viktor Orban model is what Trump is going for. A lot of people compare him to Hitler, which is fine. There are parallels, but the Viktor Orban model is more modern and current than even Putin. I think it's better than Putin. Trump said Thursday that Martin could serve in another capacity at the Department of Justice. But again, I just want to point out, I think the broad risk here is that this interim term isn't actually interim. And it's a part of a broader pattern that I've talked about. Trump is not building a government. He's kind of building a propaganda machine to dominate the attention economy. How to build a stronger ecosystem is something that came up a lot during my meeting with President Obama, which I'll be making a video about tomorrow. And I personally believe that the attention economy is very important. That's something that President Obama was very good at when he was the president, is being charismatic and dominating the airwaves. And now Trump, whether you like him or not, is really solid at dominating the airwaves and taking up attention. So when Trump is appointing people like Pete Hegseth, like Jeanine Pirro from Fox News, it's not because he wants competence. It's because he wants loyalty and a PR machine. Jeanine Pirro to Trump is a PR machine. And I want to end this off by saying the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. isn't really any job. It's the front line of the federal enforcement in our nation's capital. Again, this is the front line of federal enforcement in the nation's capital, and it's being handed to someone whose career over the past 5 years has been defined by kissing Trump's ass, lying to the Fox News audience and to Americans, lawsuit after lawsuit. And yeah, this is a kind of democracy being hollowed out from the inside. At the beginning, I was saying that this is a sign of a declining nation, and I was being sort of tongue-in-cheek, but I want to end this off by saying it's not really that tongue-in-cheek. Jeanine Pirro's appointment isn't just bad, it's kind of a warning of what's to come when the top U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia in D.C. is going to a Fox News wine mom. Well, I'll leave it at that. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe. We have built an amazing, amazing community over the past few years, and we will continue to grow so we can push back against the right-wing media ecosystem. Make sure you turn on post notifications because I have some very interesting content coming out over the next few days after my panels and my meeting with President Obama. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.